Hey guys, Dr. Michael Tang here, physiotherapist. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the different massage guns, talking about the pros and cons of each one. Now, I am not sponsored by any of the brands in this video, so you're going to be getting my honest opinion. Now, the massage guns that we have here is the Hypervolt by Hyperice, the Theragun Elite by Therabody, the Theragun Mini by Therabody, and Ambris, a random Amazon brand massage gun that I just picked up online. Let's start with the design and build of each tool. First off, I have the Hypervolt from Hyperice, and my initial impression of holding this is that it feels pretty solid. The bottom handle is covered with a rubber material, making it easier to grip. To turn the gun on itself, there's a on and off switch at the very bottom, and the charging port is also there. When you turn the gun on, a light comes on at the bottom. In this case, I have a yellow indicating that it's like medium battery, but when it's fully charged, it turns on green. Now, to turn the gun on itself, there is a power button on the very center console here, and after you press it, you can go through the different default speeds. The three speeds are 2400, 2800, and 3200 percussions per minute. And then there's the Theragun Elite. Now, when I first opened up the box and I took the gun out, held it in my hand, I was surprised to see that it had a pretty premium feel to it because it's made of a hard plastic finish throughout the entire body. On the outside, there is a rubber coating type of thing, not completely rubber, kind of feels like plastic, but it helps with gripping. It also includes a carrying case. The handle is a triangular fashion, which I prefer since it is a little bit more ergonomic to use and maneuver. And on the front, you can plug in the charging, whereas on the back, there's a LCD display to check for the different speeds. Now, the different speeds is 1750, 1900, 2100, 2200, and 2400 as default speeds for percussions per minute. But you can be more specific with the app that comes with it. Moving on to the Theragun Mini, my initial impressions of this was, how the hell am I supposed to even use this thing? Like seriously, it fits in the palm of my hand. But holding it in my hand, the plastic itself feels very hard, very premium, and I have dropped it on a couple of occasions. There's no problems. I don't feel like it's going to break. There's no dings, no nothing on it. So kudos to Therabody for making a very solid product. The design itself, very easy access to the charging port, and there's a button on the side which controls the default speeds. The default speeds are 1750, 2100, and 2400 percussions per minute. Like the Theragun Elite, there's an app that can be very specific on how much speed there is, and it comes with a carrying case. And finally, I picked up this massage gun from Ambris off of Amazon to see how it stacks up against some of the more name brand massage guns. Holding it in my hand, it does feel a little bit cheaper and it weighs a little bit less in comparison. Now, this design is very similar to the Hypervolt, but it is slightly different. All the buttons are all on the center console here, the on and off switch as well as the charging port. The knob here, if you click it in, turns on the digital display where you can turn it up and down to adjust the power of the percussions per minute. The range goes from 600 to 3300 percussions per minute, and you can change each click for 10 percussions per minute at a time. So this leads into the utility and versatility aspect of each gun. Ergonomically, I have to go with the Theragun Elite because the triangular build makes it really easy to handle. I can turn it any which way, lift it up and down, and apply pressure with no problem because it gives me leverage. Now, if I'm looking for really smaller areas, then I have to go with the Theragun Mini because it's just smaller. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Now, the build for the Ambris and the Hypervolt are really similar. Personally, I prefer using the Ambris more than the Hypervolt because it's a little bit lighter and so it's easier to use for longer durations in comparison to the Hypervolt. Where the Hypervolt does win in comparison to the Ambris is that it has more punch, more power towards it when I'm using it on myself. It kind of varies on the situation when you would want to use either, but I personally think that the Ambris is enough. Now, getting into the attachment heads, the winner or winners here are the Hypervolt and the Ambris. They have the same attachment heads, which can pretty much be used in a bunch of different scenarios. There is the bullet, which can be very accurate, the prongs to get around the bones, the ball for an all-around pressure, the compressible head to go a little bit easier on the pressure, and a flat head for a wide area. Compared to the Theragun Elite, it comes with attachment heads, which is the ball head, another oval-like attachment, a pinpoint attachment, and a line trapezoid attachment, which all kind of do roughly the same thing. All of these heads can be used on the Mini, but keep in mind that the Mini does not include any of these attachment heads. In the category of portability, it probably comes as no surprise that the Mini is a clear favorite just because of how small it is. You can put it in your backpack, you can put it in your purse, and of all the guns here, it is the lightest one. The comparison to the Hypervolt and the Ambrus, they're roughly about the same, maybe slight edge to the Ambrus just because it's a little bit lighter. And then at the very last place, the Theragun Elite comes in just because it weighs roughly the same as the Hypervolt, yet its shape is a little bit more awkward. As I said earlier in the video, these guns have Bluetooth capability, excluding the Ambrus that I got from Amazon. I found that the apps of the Hypervolt and the Therabody products were pretty much the same. Both had specific workouts and routines to follow with specifics on how long to do them or which attachment to use. But I will give a slight edge to the Hypervolt just because it has a specific profile setup called a Hyper Smart score, which calculates a score based on how well you're using the tool for warm-ups or recovery in conjunction with your workout. So just a slight edge. Something that you might not have considered about massage guns is how loud they can get. Now, I turned up each of the guns to its max power and tested the sound. The clear winner in the quietest is the Hypervolt, and then just followed by the Ambrus, followed by the Theragun Mini, and the loudest being the Theragun Elite. This is really only something you consider if you're going to be using it at night, if somebody's going to be sleeping, or if you don't want to bother other people in the room. Ultimately, of all the different massage guns here, my favorite of the bunch is definitely going to have to be the Theragun Elite because it has a nice ergonomic feel to it. The handles make it easy to handle, and I just enjoy it the most. Honorable mention should go to the Theragun Mini though, because it's surprisingly strong and the size of it just makes it really convenient to put in my bag and just go. I don't really have to concern about space or anything like that. The Hypervolt and the Ambrus, on the other hand, I would say they're relatively the same, though I will give the edge to the Ambrus just because it's a little bit lighter to use, so if I'm using it for longer, this one was more convenient. For the premium guns, the Bluetooth connectivity on the apps is a nice luxury, but for me, I found that I just use the default settings most of the time, so it really didn't make much of a difference, Hyperscore or not. So if you're going to use any of these massage tools on somebody else, I would definitely go with any of the guns that have handles on them and not the Mini, because the Mini is just really awkward to use on somebody. It's hard to apply pressure, and it doesn't have any leverage to it. In the professional medical setting, I probably would go with the Hypervolt just because it is a little bit more professional looking, I think, and it has a little bit more brand recognition that more of the patients would be familiar with. The marketing team for them did a fantastic job. I think they sponsored the NBA, so more people just know of it. Now, if you're not a professional, then this is probably overkill, and you can go with the Ambrus, where it does pretty much the same thing and it's a little bit cheaper. I will say the Bluetooth functionality, I don't think you'll be missing much if you don't have it, but if that's something that you really value, then go with the Hypervolt. Anyways, that's my personal review on these different massage guns from a professional and a non-professional perspective. As always, the links to the products are in the description box below. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And if you found this video helpful, consider subscribing to my channel to be more up to date on more helpful videos just like this one. That's it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Hey!